Here's some things you need to know about before you buy a used BMW. Buying a used BMW is not the same as buying a Toyota Camry or a Suzuki car, or really most other non-luxury vehicles. When you buy a used BMW, you have to do your due diligence. A BMW is effectively a sports luxury brand, and people that own these cars are going to be driving it like effectively a sports car. So there's extra steps before you buy your car. One of the things you have to do is make sure that there is no leaks in your BMW. Things like the valve cover gaskets, oil filter housing gaskets, basically wherever there's rubber, it can leak. So you want to make sure either yourself to do the check or you hire someone competent to do the check for you. I'm going to put this car in comfort mode So that's one of the big things you need to do, is have that checked out. Now the second thing is suspension. German manufacturers often treat suspension components and parts as consumables. So you have to check in your car, especially if you're buying an older or a higher kilometer version, to see if your suspension components need to be replaced or need freshening up. So that's sort of point number 2. You can do that yourself as well, or get someone externally. The number 3 thing you need to look out for is, I would say, options. Now, in the used car market, what happens is options compress. When you buy a new BMW, you probably would have paid up to $20,000 or sometimes even more just in options. Now, if you're used to buying Japanese brands or other brands, they don't have many options. The best you might be able to get is, tint, that sort of stuff, Bluetooth options in older cars, etc. In BMWs, you could get a 1 Series or a 2 Series and load it right up with any option you want. And if someone would have bought that brand new optioned up, they would have paid so much money. Now, the great thing about buying a used car is that those things compress. So models with high amount of options are often going for as much or just a little bit over models with low amount of options. So if you're someone who likes tech and who likes things of that nature, you should really see the options that your cars come with. Now, when I was buying my BMW, and I love my car, obviously, I didn't know much about this. So I saw it, I liked it, I thought, oh, okay. So because it's an M235, it's still sort of top of the range, but it doesn't have a lot of options. So I thought, okay, I don't have electric seats, fair enough, it's not a big deal. Or the other option that I kind of miss sometimes is keyless entry. So I've got the push button start, but I don't have the keyless entry, which is called comfort access. Now, I sort of knew at the back of my mind that these options existed. They were in other cars around me, but I thought, oh, look, I care more about the car and its condition, etc. And while that would have been correct, because it is a great condition car, I think those are great negotiation points. You shouldn't treat options as just, oh, the car doesn't have it, it's still priced similar to other cars. No, you should use that as a point to negotiate down. So that's the thing on the options. Number 4 is running costs. A BMW is not designed to be a reliable appliance, a reliable white good appliance the way other vehicles are. And everything is built to tight tolerances. A lot of items, if you don't service them on time, or you don't do the correct type of servicing, they will come back to bite you. So your running costs inevitably are going to be higher. Where on a Toyota, you could drive with a squeaky belt for a long time. On a BMW, you just can't do that. You drive on a squeaky belt. If that belt comes off, that's going to get sucked into your engine, and bye-bye engine. Whereas in a Toyota or a Suzuki, etc., you could drive a car that's been leaking oil for a while. You can't do that in a BMW. That oil will drip onto other items or cause failures in the car, and then you'll be left with heavy bills. And the last thing's fuel. The car, especially if you get an N55 type engine, like I have, a 6-cylinder or a V8, or any of the higher spec engines, in fact any of the other engines really as well, you're going to be paying more for fuel than your equivalent Japanese vehicle. It's just a fact. And two reasons for that: you'll be paying more for fuel because you'll be driving it the way you wouldn't drive other cars, so that's not the car's fault. But second, these cars are tuned for performance. They're pulling big numbers. They're not prioritizing hybrid driving or all of those items. Now, I will say, to BMW's defense, is that Eco Pro is actually a great mode to save a lot of fuel. It's amazing how good Eco Pro is. Right now, I've been driving an Eco Pro just while making this video, and I'm averaging, well, I'd say I'm averaging about 7 liters per 100 kilometers. So Eco Pro is a great mode. If you want to save some fuel, you can. But problem again is, you'll feel sad when you're driving these cars and trying to save fuel. You have bought this car because it's the ultimate driving machine, and you want to put